Avengers Assemble! And also the Fantastic Four are here. Don't forget the X-Men. Oh, and S.H.I.E.L.D. But there's villains too, like Doctor Doom and Hydra and Thanos. And also, I'm just running out of breath here. That's because there are 128 legendary creatures in Marvel superheroes. By far the most we have ever seen in a single set. How did they pull that off? Well, for the first time in the history of magic, every single creature, every one of them in Marvel superheroes, at the uncommon rarity or higher, is a legendary creature. Personally, I thought the 43 legends we got in Outlaws of Thunder Junction were too many, but now, 2 years later, we have a set with nearly 3 times that amount. Oh. And while Marvel fans are surely excited to see all their favorite heroes and villains represented, no matter how obscure, it does beg the question, where does it end? Is this extreme density of legends the new normal? Will standard players never again know the joy of controlling 2 of the same creature? But regardless, 128 new legends means 128 new possible commanders. So which ones are the best? The top new commanders from Marvel superheroes to build a deck around? Well, presented here, we've got our picks for the top 6 or 7 of them. But I'm not just going to be talking about which commanders are the best, I'm also going to be offering summaries about how I would build the deck, what other cards from throughout Magic I would include, what synergies and combos may be present, a kind of commander deck, not tech, but summary for the top 7 commanders from Marvel superheroes. So what did we pick from this giant pile of legends? Let's find out. And you know, all this talk of commanders has me asking the question, how comfortable is your command zone? By which I mean, how comfortable is the mattress you sleep on at night? Does it let you return to the battlefield fully refreshed and recharged to fight another day? Well, if not, you might need a new mattress, and luckily today's sponsor, Helix Sleep, has got just the one for you. Helix Sleep actually has a wide variety of mattresses available, and all of them are delivered right to your door with free shipping within the USA. But I said they've got the right mattress for you, and that's because you take their online sleep quiz to let Helix match you with the best mattress for your sleep needs. I literally have been sleeping on a Helix mattress for years now, and yes, I love it. I don't have to haggle with mattress salesmen. I don't have to drive all around town lying on top of a mattress fully clothed and with my shoes on. I just get my Helix delivered right to my door. It's easy to unbox, easy to set up, and best of all, it brings me the best night's sleep I've ever had. And Helix is even now offering these Comfort Adjust cooling pillows, which also give you the freedom to customize and adjust to your preferred firmness and height. That's top-tier personalized sleep. Talk about a 2-for-1. What I like most about my Comfort Adjust pillow is, thanks to the cooling comfort and support, I haven't woken up during my sleep from overheating. I only wake up to my inner demons haunting me through existence, but not because of my pillow. No, that problem's been fixed. It's just the demons. Helix can only do so much. They can't fix that. But they can fix you up with the right mattress. Or just let you upgrade your existing mattress with a Helix mattress topper. Best of all, you'll be happy to hear that with the Helix guarantee, you can rest easy. Helix offers seamless returns and exchanges to ensure everyone finds the perfect sleep gear for them. So what are you waiting for? Just scan the QR code, follow the link in the description, or just go to helixsleep.com/Talarian to take advantage of their 4th of July sale and get 20% off site-wide. Wow! Thank you, Helix, for sponsoring this video. So who are the top 7 best new legendaries for Commander? Well, starting off at number 7 is the only 5-color commander to make the list, Super Skrull. Super Skrull is a 4/5 Skrull shapeshifter villain for 1 generic and 3 black mana. He's got flying and 4 activated abilities, 1 for each non-black color. For 2 and a white, he makes a 0/4 wall token. For 3 and a green, he gets +4/+4 until end of turn. For 4 and a red, he deals 4 damage to a creature. And finally, for 5 and a blue, target player draws 4 cards. Super Scroll prompts an immediate and obvious comparison to one of the most iconic 5-color commanders in all of Magic, Kenrith, the Returned King. Both are monocolored creatures with a smorgasbord of activated abilities, filling out the rest of the color pie. And both are valuable in the command zone for their flexibility as well as their raw power level. But don't be fooled, there are some key differences that prevent Super Scroll from just being a pure Kenrith rerun. For starters, players looking to cast Skrull need to be much more deliberate about how they construct their mana base, as 3 black pips is a much taller ask than Kenrith's single white pip. And while Kenrith's abilities tend to err on the side of supportive, with a focus on politicking and amplifying the rest of the cards in your deck, Super Scroll is much more of a self-sufficient threat in its own right. A good Super Scroll deck will probably look much different from a good Kenrith deck, even if their text boxes are similarly shaped. Even with this distinction drawn, though, it's important to remember that a 5-color commander offers infinite deck-building possibilities. The versatility and variety of Super Scroll's abilities means it's quite likely no 2 builds will look exactly the same. And there's support here for a plethora of different game plans. You could build a draw-go control deck using Super Scroll as a repeatable removal or a card advantage mana sink. Or you could take advantage of flying and his pump ability to rush your opponents down with a powerful Voltron strategy. You can even abuse the lack of a tap cost to cook up some powerful, if convoluted, combo finishes. For example, combining the cost reduction of Training Grounds with the mana generation of Enduring Vitality and the haste aura of Concordant Crossroads allows Super Scroll to create an infinite number of wall tokens, with each new wall tapping to pay for another activation of the ability. Combine that with something like an Impact Tremors or a Goblin Bombardment, and you've just successfully killed the entire table. These are, of course, just a few examples of ways to build the deck, but the possibilities truly are endless. Super Scroll's versatility is a form of power unto itself, and I'm sure you've already thought of several different ways to take advantage of it that I haven't even mentioned. Still, 5-color commanders are often decried by players as being both overdone and overly broad. While it's true that Super Scroll is an appealing card, it also isn't anything particularly unique, and it's this lack of uniqueness that places it all the way down here at 7th on our list. Alright, never mind number 7, we're up to number 6, and this is a card on our list that is a versatile colorless legend who provides a unique engine for card advantage. The Vision is a 2/5 robot hero for 4 generic mana with flying and vigilance. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you choose one effect that you haven't already chosen this turn. Either the Vision gains double strike until end of turn, or he gains indestructible until end of turn. Or you draw a card. All 3 of these abilities are obviously powerful on your turn, providing you with protection, an aggressive creature, and an additional card. But there's no reason you should feel gated to your own turn. With a little help from some creative deck building, the Vision is more than capable of protecting himself or drawing you a card on your opponent's turn. Well, the easiest way to do this is to borrow some colorless instants from the Eldrazi. Warping Whale and Kozilek's Command come to mind as great cards to include. The real fun begins if we can turn every spell into an instant. With a Vidalkin Orrery, Shimmer Mirror, or Liberator Urza's Battlethopter in play, every non-creature spell in your hand can trigger Vision at any time. Your baubles and eggs become even more card draw, and your mana rocks make the Vision nearly impossible to remove. I highly recommend pairing the Vision with plenty of artifact mana and an unwinding clock, allowing you to have access to mana on every player's turn. This, along with a flash-granting effect like Orrery, means the Vision can easily draw you upwards of 4 cards every single turn cycle. Glaring Fleshraker is another excellent option, as it not only provides a rebate on every colorless spell you cast, but very directly helps convert your card and mana advantage into winning the game. Perhaps most excitingly, the Vision is an addition to the growing list of commanders that ask you to think about colorless spells in a new way, inviting ambitious brewers to comb through the history of Magic in search of cards they may not have otherwise given a second glance. A far cry from the many dedicated Eldrazi or artifact decks that exist in the colorless space, the broad and versatile scope of the Vision's overall game plan gives deck builders an expansive toolbox that will only continue to grow, giving him the long-term potential to become one of the coolest colorless commanders in all of Magic. Coming in at number 5 on our list, our next commander presents a take on a classic archetype in an unconventional color pair. Monica Rambeau is a 3/3 human hero for 2 generic and 1 white mana with flying and prowess. But that's not the reason you're putting her in the command zone. She's another installment of the line of modal double-faced superheroes that have their super selves on the backside of the card. In Monica's case, the side you'll be casting far more often is Photon, Living Light. For 2 generic, 1 red, and 2 white, you get a 4/4 elemental hero with flying, hexproof, and prowess that puts a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control whenever you cast a non-creature spell. Fans of Balmor, Battle Mage Captain, will recognize the overall game plan here. Build up a wide board, then cast a flurry of spells to get your opponents dead. However, unlike with Balmor, and somewhat unusually for a spell-slinging commander, playing Photon means you don't have access to blue spells. While this is somewhat unusual, it is not unprecedented. In fact, it's reminiscent of another Boros commander I highlighted from Secrets of Strixhaven, Aziza, Mage Tower Captain. But while both commanders marry spells with go wide in Boros colors, they do so in very different ways. For one thing, Photon is a bit broader in scope, triggering off any non-creature spell rather than just instants and sorceries. And for another, while Aziza is all about hyper-efficiency and wringing every last bit of value out of your spells by copying them, Photon just wants to kill the other players at the table as fast as possible. And the fact that her board wipe pump is permanent rather than temporary means that she's very, very good at it. Like Aziza, your creatures will mostly come from non-creature resources in the form of tokens. Call the Coppercoats and Secure the Wastes, for instance, are excellent here. But since you aren't just restricted to instants and sorceries, you can also get those tokens from other non-creature sources, like Corey Steelcutter, Aligned Heart, or Elspeth Storm Slayer. No, they don't have to come from Tarkir Dragonstorm, but woohoo! Did that set ever give us a lot of heaters in the token generation department. Once you've got your board established, it's simply a matter of casting enough spells to let those tokens run over your opponents. While access to cantrips and other sources of card flow is somewhat limited in Boros, cards like Crash Through and Warlord's Fury still allow you to churn through your deck quickly. Or you could just keep casting your token-generating spells, growing your dudes by making even more dudes. Perhaps the biggest difference between Photon and Aziza is that while Aziza is a 2-mana 2/2, whose value comes almost entirely from her triggered ability, Photon's impressive combination of size and keywords makes her a formidable threat in her own right. Even in games where going wide fails to get off the ground, Photon herself should be able to provide plenty of pressure and even threaten to win the game by herself. Photon Living Light is a sweet and splashy new commander for a color pair that so often gets the same kinds of things over and over again. And despite her surface level similarities to Aziza, there are enough differences in both deck construction and gameplay between the two to make Photon feel fresh. This is absolutely one of the best new commanders in the set. Coming in at number 4 is a great new Dimir legend printed for crimes, as Dimir cards so often are. That commander is Taskmaster, Mercenary Mimic, is a 3/5 human mercenary villain for 1 blue, 1 black, and 2 generic mana. At the beginning of your first main phase, it becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature on the battlefield, or in a graveyard until your next turn, retaining its original name and creature types. Clones and shapeshifters aren't exactly unexplored territory for Magic. There are a few novel details that set Taskmaster apart. Firstly, the fact that Taskmaster becomes a new creature each turn turn, rather than just picking one upon entering and staying that way, makes him a unique sort of value engine that allows you to constantly reevaluate the board state and select the right tool for the job turn after turn. Additionally, unlike most other clones, Taskmaster can also copy creatures in graveyards. And not just yours. Milling the entire table, therefore, becomes an appealing and efficient option for giving Taskmaster targets. In fact, it's probably the easiest way to provide a plethora of options, and you'll have no shortage of deck building help thanks to Taskmaster's Dimir color identity. Building a mill-focused Taskmaster deck gives you the option of putting creatures in your deck that you're much happier to copy than you're able to cast. Innocuous-looking cards like Ghoul Caller's Bell already become more frightening when they threaten to turn your opponent's best creatures against them, and that's before you start flipping your own big, nasty threats. This allows Taskmaster to almost function as a pseudo-reanimator commander, constantly threatening to replicate the scariest thing in any given graveyard and incentivizing you to actively work to put them there yourself. Even if it isn't the primary focus of your game plan, Taskmaster's ability to utilize your opponent's graveyards makes cards with incidental mill much more valuable inclusions in your deck. This notably plays quite well with one of my favorite underutilized Universes Beyond mechanics, rad counters. While the mechanic hasn't really caught on outside its original dedicated precon, Taskmaster's ability to extract value from graveyards makes him a great companion for cards like Screeching Scorchbeast and Nuclear Fallout, which are plenty playable in their own right, but also provide that sweet incidental mill value as you slowly whittle away your opponent's libraries in search of tasty Taskmaster targets. This isn't really a mill commander in the traditional sense, as eradicating your opponent's libraries isn't likely to be your primary win condition. Like any good clone, however, Taskmaster is always at least as good as the best thing your opponent's brought to the table, which is sure to create an exciting and dynamic experience where you'll always have a trick or two up your sleeve. We are down to the top 3 on our list, bringing with us a Krenko Mob Boss-esque ability to an entirely different creature type and color entirely. Is this card nuts? It's the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl is here to do exactly one thing, and it's just what you'd expect. Flood the board with a comically large army of woodland creatures. She's a 4/4 human squirrel hero for 3 green and 1 generic that makes a squirrel whenever she enters or attacks. And anytime you want to pay her casting cost again, she doubles the number of squirrels you control. The comparisons to Krenko Mob Boss are pretty clear. After all, what are squirrels if not little green goblins? No, not you. Anyway, unlike Krenko, Squirrel Girl doesn't have to tap to activate. You just have to pay mana. In other words, you can do this as often as you're able to pay for it. With enough mana investment, you're rewarded with an absolutely nutty army of squirrels to overwhelm your opponents. And since we're in green, there should be plenty of mana to go around. Speaking of which, since Squirrel Girl is restricted to mono green, she's forced to be a bit more one-dimensional than other squirrel commanders like Chatterfang Squirrel General. Because of this, you'll probably want to just lean into the primary squirrel generation plan as hard as possible. Really, go nuts with it. Luckily, even with just one color at our disposal, there's plenty of options. For one thing, you'll want to make sure you're ramping enough to reliably pay for Squirrel Girl's activation cost. So all the usual green ramp tools are must-includes. Once the squirrel engine is online, token doublers like Parallel Lives or Doubling Season are obvious no-brainers. It's probably also a good idea to supplement Squirrel Girl's ability to safely get her attack trigger off. Buffing her up with +1/+1 counters is one way to ensure she survives combat that also pairs nicely with Doubling Season. Or you can simply equip her with a Whisper Silk Cloak to slide past pesky blockers. But for extra flavor, I recommend the aura Druid's Call. That way, you're making squirrels whether your opponent likes it or not. And yes, if you noticed the lack of a tap symbol and wondered if we could go infinite, you're absolutely barking up the right tree. With Earthcraft in play, your squirrels can untap your basic lands. Once you get up to 4 or more squirrels, each activation pays for itself, and you've achieved unlimited squirrel works. infinite squirrels, and infinite mana, all from a 2-card combo where one half is available in your command zone. And the other half is, oh god, $165? I hope this doesn't affect my sponsorship with Mana Pool, but printer go brrrr. And you can go to manapool.com/TCC. We've got lots of commander decks you can one-click buy. Anyway, if you love squirrels, and honestly, who doesn't, then you'll go positively nuts with the unbeatable Squirrel Girl in the command zone. Our number 2 pick for the best commander from Marvel superheroes is actually a legendary I'm super excited to build around, even though I know nothing about Marvel and its lore, but I know Magic cards and I know Magic designs that I like, and this is a design I like. Super Adaptoid is a 2-toughness robot villain for 2 generic mana, whose power is equal to the number of legendary creatures you control. Whenever Super Adaptoid enters or attacks, choose another target creature. If that creature has haste and Super Adaptoid doesn't, put a haste counter on Super Adaptoid. The same is true for flying, first strike, double strike, death touch, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, and vigilance. This keyword soup mechanic is not exactly new design space. We've seen creatures with similar templating dating all the way back to Tempest, but this is the first time we've seen such a creature in colorless, which makes designing a deck to complement Super Adaptoid an interesting challenge. Super Adaptoid's specific combination of abilities means the obvious game plan is a Voltron strategy. However, due to its low toughness, it's extremely reliant on gaining evasion to avoid dying to a puny blocker. Flying is therefore one of the most valuable keywords to give it, but of course it's far from the only valuable option. Say on turn 1 you cast an Ornithopter and a Ginger Brute, and then follow that up with a turn 2 Super Adaptoid. It enters and gets haste from Ginger Brute. It then attacks immediately and gains flying from Ornithopter. You've not only successfully granted that all-important evasion, but you've already established a clock, and now each successive creature you cast will make your commander better and better, hopefully snowballing the game. Buffing Super Adaptoid's power, on the other hand, is a little harder. As of the time of this recording, there are just under 40 colorless legendary creatures, and many of them are big, expensive Eldrazi that don't really fit in a Voltron strategy. Still, there are plenty of other ways to buff Super Adaptoid, most notably equipment like the many swords of X and Y. And since many of these equipment grant keywords themselves, it can also be valuable to attach them to your other creatures to ensure Super Adaptoid has plenty of targets. Since many of these creatures will by necessity be evasive themselves, this even serves to help diversify your threats and ensure your game plan doesn't fold to a single Doom Blade. Though the legendary offerings may be lacking, there are still plenty of sweet 3-drop creatures to follow up a turn 2 Super Adaptoid. If further evasion is required, Iron Bully can grant Menace. Or if your opponents are trying to rain on your parade, you can preempt them by granting Indestructible with Darksteel Mirror. If you're feeling lucky, Crystalline Giant can have almost anything, and since it triggers at the beginning of combat, it gains its abilities before Super Adaptoid's attack trigger resolves. Similar to the Vision, Super Adaptoid's unique niche in the colorless space is one that should only expand as time passes. As more and more colorless legendary creatures, or colorless creatures with keywords, are printed into Magic the Gathering, Super Adaptoid players will eventually find themselves with a vast array of options to fine-tune their deck. This is an extremely cool design space, and one that I'll be keeping a close eye on moving forward. All of the legends we've gone through today are just a small sample of the great new cards from Marvel superheroes, but who's my pick for the number 1 new commander? Well, you might not like him when he's angry, but you'll love him in your command zone. My pick for the number 1 most exciting new commander is Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk. Remember when the Incredible Hulk was in Thor Ragnarok, the very first Marvel movie I ever saw? That was fun. I figured out a lot from context clues. For just 1 mana, Bruce Banner comes into play as a 1/1 human scientist hero with a simple yet flavorful tap ability. Pay XX and tap him to draw X cards at sorcery speed. He's researching, he's He's looking for answers and, yes, getting angrier and angrier. Oh, we marvel now, baby. Sorry. It's a good card. Once you feel like his tempers come to a boil, for 2 generic, 2 red, and 2 green, you can cut Bruce loose, activating his transform ability and turning him into the Incredible Hulk, an 8/8 Gamma Berserker hero with reach, trample, and most importantly, enrage. Whenever the Incredible Hulk is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on him. If he's attacking, untap him. And there is an additional combat phase after this phase. Gruul having conditional ways to trigger extra combat steps isn't exactly new. Remember that mole god from Murders at Markov Manor? But it doesn't take a genius scientist to see how easy it is to trigger the Hulk's enrage ability. The Hulk goes infinite with caltrops, for instance, pinging him every extra combat step while he grows and grows to unalive the whole table. Kill the table, all right? Kill the table. Murder them. Hit that like button. I said kill and murder. Anyway, even when just going finite, Pyrohemia should provide more than enough combat steps to run everyone over. Hulk's here to do one thing and one thing only: smash. The Incredible Hulk is a Timmy's dream, as having access to the entire Teamer Wedge allows for a wide array of deck design opportunities. Blue provides access to Release the Wind. Oh, why wasn't that in our best fart cards video? Release the Wind. Did you see our best fart cards video? It performed terribly. Anyway, letting you cast Bruce for 1 mana and then flip him into the Hulk for just 3 mana. And in higher brackets, the blue in his identity allows you to protect him with Fierce Guardianship or even Force of Will. Yes, the Hulk is an absolutely obscene commander and one that scales well to the bracket system you want to play him at. All this and more makes him the single best new commander from Marvel's superheroes, but now I want to hear from you. What legendaries out of the literal hundreds in this set would you say are the best that I haven't mentioned? Let me know in the comments below. You know, I just love building commander decks, and I love that we have so many online tools to help us build those decks. There's a new one out there that I want to talk about. It's called Commander Template, and it's not a sponsor. It was actually built by friend of the channel, Rebel Lily. Not a sponsor, cause it's Rebel. Commander Template is a deck builder that combines a lot of research and expert thinking into making the easiest deck building experience. You can take one of the Marvel Legends we highlighted today and plug it into the site, see recommended themes. Again, this isn't building the deck for you, it's just giving you ideas. Find cards you already have within those themes, automatically add in your basics, look at your mana base, and even refine that mana curve, all based on the commander you chose. I think Commander Template is a great new tool. It goes along the lines of using sites like EDH Rec. It's just something to help you in your own deck building process. And again, not a sponsor, made by friend of the channel, Rebel Lily. So check it out. Link in the description.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
What's up? It's Shuffle Up and Play, and today, a flashback pre-release in honor of Spice 8 Rack. We are doing pre-release of...
Yo! Lorwyn! Let's go!
Let's go!
Oh, I'm forcing goblins. Oh, hell yeah! It will be so funny if I hate this format after this show.
I actually pulled a Lily and I was like, what are these planeswalkers? I don't like this.
Hey, I didn't pass yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's you.
Would you stop freaking Spencer out?
All I need to do is to be really good at the game and incredibly lucky.
I'm putting on my shoes. I'm putting on my jacket. I got a funky plan.
I want numbers going by me.
Yeah.
Symbols.